Hi, I'm Tim Zacharias with Cougar USA and your host of Building Value. We are on location today in Orlando, Florida at the Orange County Convention Center for the 2020 AHR Expo. And I'm joined today by President of Hurley Engineering, Devin Carle. Thanks for being on the show.
You betcha. Great to be here.
Yeah. So we've got a great episode today, and I apologize if it's a little hectic behind us back here. If anybody's heckling us, we're have no idea that that's going on. So hopefully there's not too much of that. But Devin's going to give us some of the background on Hurley, its history, rich history going back to 1936, his relationship with his business partner Buck, and even Cougar and Hurley's relationship as our Cougar Systems rep in the Pacific Northwest. And he's got some great advice for anyone starting out in the industry. So thanks for joining us today. On Building Value, we go behind the scenes at some of the most iconic buildings in Texas to showcase the incredible people that design, build, and maintain them and their impact on the community. So, how did you end up getting into this industry then?
Really by mistake. Growing up, I've always sort of wanted to run my own business. I always, from the lemonade stand to the cutting grass and always finding stuff. In that day, you weren't really able to go to McDonald's and work, and I always really liked working. I grew up with a great influence of family to work, be productive is sort of expected, and I just have a passion for it. So. With that thought, through college, I looked at some different opportunities. I actually tried, before it was even done, I tried to start a grocery distribution business with QR or barcodes and things like that. And so I was working, managing a restaurant, and I had about 70 people underneath me. And I had a guy come in and ask me if I'd like to come look at his business. And that person was Griffin Commercial. So Everett offered me a job. He's the owner of Griffin Commercial, and he sold mechanical seals and bearing assemblies for Armstrong pumps and some small pumps. From there, I worked up my way up and ended up being his sales manager. It took about 5 years, and then when we discussed what my next opportunity in the company was, it didn't really align with where I wanted to be. So I went out and started my own company the next week. And just took off from there, and was fortunate enough to make a relationship with my current partner in business, and we exchanged business back and forth, and then that led into a 20-year career at Hurley Engineering. So that's really just by chance. Like most of us, we're accidental whatever we are now, and very few people go to college and actually become what they majored in or want to do. Business was always my passion, and now the HVAC business and what we do at Hurley is a passion of mine, mainly because of the infrastructure and the people.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that the more talk to people in this industry, it doesn't seem like anyone as a kid is like, I want to go into commercial HVAC, and so
and that's really the passion. Then comes the attractor to me was two things. When I was working for Griffin was we went through a recession and our business went up, and I noticed right away that when people stopped buying new things, they fixed what they have, and so our business actually climbed. And then I also noticed that the people that I was dealing with in the industry were awesome. From the engineers to the building engineers, really the bottom line was everybody just wanted to get home that day and have their problem solved, and have somebody that would give them the honest truth, even if it was bad. And so there wasn't a lot of stress in the industry, and when you performed for somebody, they really appreciated it, and that feedback as a job was fantastic. So I just love the people in the industry. Yep. They're down to earth, and so
and it's awesome to be able to have that kind of tangible impact to be able to drive around town and we helped out. We did work in that building.
It's amazing, especially after doing it for 30 years, that you look at the buildings you have been in. Yeah, I've been in there, and I think you folks came out to Seattle, and we were driving by one, and you were staying at that hotel, and I was like, oh, that's a triplex booster system, blah, blah, blah. So
usually we know the basements, not the nice
no,
parts.
We don't get to go to the penthouse very often.
Yeah, that's great. So, you mentioned Hurley, been around since 1936. It's pretty impressive. most companies are not surviving for that long. So what has it been like to join Hurley and kind of take it to the next level?
Well, it's a third generation company, as you might figure from the ages. From 1936 forward, um, there's a lot of legacy. There's a lot of things that people have done already that have come before me that have been fantastic. There's also challenges and adversity that a company has to go through in the history of their growth. At some point in every company, there's going to be a high point and a low point, right? And so joining Hurley, one of the nicest things in merging my company with Hurley was the foundation and the moral background that stood at the company outside of the balance sheet. So, like I said, you're going to have highs and lows in those areas, and it's how you perform during those times that really make the company who it is. So our core values have been entrenched for a long time, even though they weren't written. So to be able to join a company like that and then contribute a little bit is it gives me a huge sense of pride to be able to do that I'm part of something and that I might be helping shape or lead something. And I think today at Hurley we try to let everybody in the company impact that definition of where we're going and who we're going to be with those core values as bumpers.
Yeah.
So
in what is the area geographically that you're serving, and who are the people that you're working with every day?
So we service the entire Pacific Northwest in the commercial industry primarily, which is a huge space.
It's big.
And so that's Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, and western Montana. We work with building owners, we work with contractors, and we work with engineers, plant operators, wholesalers, and then obviously our manufacturers who support us.
Yeah, it's very, very jealous of your territory.
Well, until you have to drive it.
Well, yeah, definitely some unique traffic challenges, but
yeah,
much prettier scenery than the freeways of Houston. So,
and it's funny having everybody come in as our guest. You really start to realize what we do have in the Pacific Northwest is pretty special. I took some folks out to lunch the other day, and we're just driving to the restaurant. Right, so we just drive to the restaurant over an overpass that overlooks Commencement Bay, that overlooks the ferry line, that overlooks the mountains, that overlooks like the beaches. So it is fantastic, and I think in a day-to-day situation we get in a rut that we just go back and forth, and because of everybody coming in town and looking at our real estate, so to speak, differently, I'm definitely more appreciative of it. So and my family is too. They look at moving back into the Northwest because of it, because it's so spectacular. So.
Yeah, I've had 3 trips now up there that have been awesome in perfect weather. None of this, raining while we've been there. But I don't think I'm allowed back unless I take my wife. I don't think she's going to let me go again.
You guys have definitely come on Chamber of Commerce days.
Nice. So, with everything, the weather, or just the geography, anything else like that, what are some unique challenges that you guys see in your area?
In the Pacific Northwest, the challenge is getting to people right now is a huge challenge. So in any sales organization, you're going to look at number of touches for customers and how you can react to their needs. Going forward, we have to worry about, can we get to the customer fast enough? Can we meet their expectations? Can we even see them? Can we, if the old salesman rule is you need to see somebody once a week, it's really hard to do. And we used to make a number of calls and be able to travel the region pretty easily in one day. And we can't do that anymore, so we have to be a little smarter. So that's a challenge. We have to be more organized, and so to get everybody up to speed in technology is a challenge. To get the customers to understand the technology, just simple texts and emails and links and things, and video meetings, things like that, and to have those things accepted are a challenge. But as far as everything else goes, the population in Seattle is growing so fast. The opportunities are growing so fast. So that really the only other big challenge we have that leads to more of an infrastructure within the company challenge. How do we service the customer's needs to make sure that we have stuff in stock, that we can get it to them, that we can even respond to a phone call, text, email in a timely fashion. We sort of have a rule within our sales team that our customers need to get a touchback or a callback text or something by the end of the day. So if somebody calls us, we need to at least acknowledge their call and let them know that hey, we're working on it, and so on and so forth. And the industry is not a get it now industry like Amazon, but
yeah, you know, it's right there. Right?
but we have to that's the customer's expectations. Sure. With and they have good merit that they have a building down, they have something wrong. We should be quicker than Amazon, and it's just our industry is not caught up yet, so we're on the hopefully leading edge of being able to provide those solutions.
Yeah, and you mentioned a lot of things that kind of allude to what my next question is, just that you guys have been making a lot of changes over the last couple of years and really kind of upping your game. What are some of the things that you guys are doing inside of the company, and what's the impact been to your customers?
I think the number one focus in the company is I'm going to say this the wrong way for a reason, that is to humanize our company. Instead of just taking a call, sending out a part, and being a robot, we have to know why the person might need the part or the service and how to help them best, and try to anticipate what he might need before he or she might need before they need it, and to make sure and educate them on that. And so some of the changes we're doing that is we actually do building audits where we walk through and see what everybody's equipment is. We're also mapping our customer base so that we know the chain of command. So if somebody's out, hopefully we give everybody the same level of service up and down the chain of command. It doesn't matter, but it gives us the ability to look into a customer and help them a lot easier. We are implementing things with you like QR codes so that we can get documents to people faster. We're implementing some stuff on our websites and our back pages for quicker links and quicker information so that our salespeople can get the information out to customers faster, and consequently having that information, they train faster so they get up to speed faster. We actually mix a little marketing with our training so that people have to actually present or create the documents, which leads to them learning faster.
Sure.
We've created a lab inside of our Tualatin office, and in 2020 we'll have a lab in Tacoma. So originally we did the lab for customers. The thought process it was for customers, but then after taking a visit to one of the factories that we have and training in their factory, I realized that the lab was going to be as positive for the customers. It was going to be even more positive for our staff. And just if they had a piece of equipment that they had questions on, they could go out to the lab and actually work on it.
Sure.
And if they didn't understand something, they could work on it live and not in front of a customer, not on the phone and stumble. And so those things predominantly are what we're working on for our innovation, if you will.
So what type of training are you offering for your customers?
So we offer boiler training, we offer pump training. We're working on with our heat exchanger manufacturer to offer heat exchanger teardown training. We're now an Alpha Laval service company, so we'll be out in the field with mechanical contractors, working with them to sort of oversee their staff to make sure they do the parts and pieces correctly. We offer energy audit training. We offer energy training. So we go from the mechanical portion of hands-on. They get their hands in the wrenches. We have toolboxes they take out, and they take things apart. They learn how to laser line pumps and fix boilers, and then we have classes on theory or best practices, if you will. So we have educational classes, and then we have sort of regulatory classes too. And just depending on our customer base is who attends.
And so I think it's really interesting the way that y'all have your service department and the partnership that you also have with Grumpus. How is that, enabling y'all to service your customers better?
So with the foundation support of Grundfos, and as a manufacturer, they're one of the best in the business. They give us support not only with parts and pieces and the world-leading equipment, within their industry. But if you need their support, you can call from the parts person to the support person to the VPs of sales. You can get right on the phone to help solve a customer's problem. They really understand that the person in the field is the priority. And so with that just mindset, we have a lot of assets and resources provided by Grundfos that normally you don't get in a manufacturer.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So what are some of the products or services that you're most excited about for this year for your customers?
I like as far as the products and services, I like the envelope that we've created. We've started in where we are more just a commodities driven company with service. So we had parts, pumps, parts, pieces, boilers, stack, and Hurley has evolved into a packaged provider now where we can go from cradle to grave and help a customer in their heating system, their pumping system. We can provide the boiler, the stack, some of the valving, the hydronics accessories. So manufacturers like Alfa Laval, Grundfos, Viessmann, Patterson Kelly, Wheatley accessories, triple
Cougar
clear,
Systems.
I'm getting there. Cougar Systems, triple clear, hydroflow. So what we've now got, and one of the changes in our presentations that's really cool to engineers and end users and contractors is I don't have to give a pump presentation anymore. So here's the pump, here's the panel, now I can talk about their system and what's happening within their system, and we can sort of go from start to finish and help them along the way. And we can provide most of the equipment, and we are lucky at Hurley Engineering, for a small firm of 21 people, that we have some of the best product in each category. We have a very nice line card, and specifically we've chosen to build our company that way. We don't like to take things on just to take them on and complete them. We'll buy other products and insert them when we need to if we feel that's a better fit for the customer, but now our package is pretty complete.
Yeah, and the Cougar's always taken a similar approach, systems approach, very technical, and having that systems knowledge is, crucial to making sure that you're providing the parts that are going to make the whole system work. And, similar mindset there of trying to represent, the highest quality products that are out there. And I think that's what makes the partnership between Cougar and Hurley fit so well.
Yeah, and you, when you focus on that part of that you're talking about, where you're giving somebody a quality product, and it may cost you a sale if you don't have something, right? But you walk away from the sale, but you're actually helping the customer by doing that. You might refer something else. And that's really the change over the years, is where we used to be selling parts sort of to stay in business. And now our business is helping the customer and making sure that he's okay. And so we do that to the best of our ability. And we just have more products now that help allow us to do that. So,
over the last few years, we've really kind of stepped up our partnership with you with Cougar Systems, with Hurley being the rep in the Pacific Northwest. How is that partnership added to the value that you're offering to your customers?
Reliability is the key in that partnership, and empathy for each other when you guys might be a little busy and we're a little short, and we say, hey, we just need this, can you help us, and vice versa. The partnership grows from us starting where we didn't have a major panel offering, and we had great panels that we could buy and we could fill in, but the expertise that you guys bring to help us select the correct panel for the right pump and to help educate our staff is really what has grown the partnership. Because as much as you want to think that people will read the books and go out and do the due diligence to learn the product, everybody in life is least path of resistance.
Yep.
Right? So implementing just a quick order sheet, easy order codes, panels with the QR readers in them, you can open them easily. It's a user-friendly product. If it wasn't, we probably couldn't sell it. And it's hard, right? So, so just having that ability, and then having the back support, when we need selections. Thankfully we haven't run into any problems. but the support with your team that we can call up and we don't quite know everything. We're not electrical panel experts, but we get a little better every time we call. So implementing that it helps us have more confidence going out to our customer. We give our customer more of a complete package. We ask the correct questions of our customer the first time instead of having to go back on site 3 or 4 times, which is great for everybody.
Yeah.
We make sure, and then it completes the package with confidence, rather than just selling a pump or a cover or a booster pack panel or whatever panel we buy. So so that just having all that stuff together is grown us as a packager, if you will. So
Sure. Yeah, and we're also a rep firm, so as much as possible, when we're playing the manufacturer role, we're trying to, be that manufacturer that we would want as the rep firm. So it's glad to hear that.
It shows in the design. That's where it comes out, is when you put the panel in front of people, it shows in that you're thinking that you've actually put your hands in a panel before,
Sure.
and this is a pain. So we've solved that problem, and just having the extra fuses, the little things like that. It's when you're on a job site, it's 12 o'clock and the fuse store's not open.
So can you give me a little bit more insight into kind of the structure of Hurley and what your role is versus Buck's role and how you guys are handling that?
Yeah, we have a pretty nice structure in place. So we're a very open, transparent company, so everybody can go into everybody's office. We have 2 offices, one in Tacoma and one in Tualatin, Oregon. Buck's role is CEO, and I'm the president. Buck is 3rd generation. He started working there when he was a kid, basically in high school, working for his dad, working for Stuart Hayward. And we actually, Stuart's middle name is Bar, and so our core values are tied, above the bar, setting the bar, that type of thing. Here's the bar. So it was sort of natural to lead in, here's the watermark of the company. So Buck really leads that stewardship, if you will, and make sure that we're staying within the rails or staying on track, that we don't get offline to our core values just for $1. Again, 3rd generation. So, and his kids now are working in the company as well. So it's great to see them have an interest.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And they're great kids too. So, and his wife actually works for us. So being a small company, we have a lot of resources that you don't normally have just because of the personality infrastructures. Buck is sort of the opposing force. He's my opposing superhero. I'd like to think I'm Batman, he's Robin, but it's probably the other way around.
Nice.
And so he does give me, back to the superhero theme, he gives me a utility belt to work with. He always lets me expand the company's horizons to try new stuff, to make sure that we're out on the leading edge of technology and service towards our customer. So he's sort of the rock of the company. He sits sort of stoic in his office and talks to everybody every day, and he still does bids and things maybe he shouldn't be doing. Put that on tape, but he really loves the business, and he's our guiding light, so to speak. He doesn't like to take a lot of credit for that, but he really does lead the company in sort of a silent way, and then he allows me to bang the drum and move the company down the road. So very fortunate. We've been partners now 18 years, and it's been a great partnership. I think it's a little bit unique in the company to have differences of opinion, and be able to walk away from it and know that, well, I'll get him to change his mind later. And he's probably thinking the same thing, right?
A little bit of healthy conflict there.
Yeah, and it is. It really is that I have a certain set of skills that I bring to the table, and he actually keeps me really grounded, because I'd probably do a lot more crazy stuff, and he's my lightning rod, so to speak. So
yeah, that's awesome. I think the stats on a 2nd generation company making are about 50%, and then you get to the 3rd generation, it's about, I think it's less than 10%. So not only are Hurley going to make it and be that 10%, but y'all are getting better and growing while kind of honoring that legacy. So that's great.
I agree on that. If you look, I always hear ads on the radio for companies that you might not remember being your age, but if you look at Westinghouse or you look at some of these old companies that were just gigantic, and we'll have some feature companies in our pinnacle companies in our region and throughout the United States, and they'll say their ad, and they'll say, hey, since 1954, and I do take pride that I'm part of something that is moving on, and since 1936 is quite the deal. So
yeah, that's definitely not a typical length of time for for the company there. It's amazing.
The funny thing about that too is we actually had a business advisor tell us recently that it's a detractor because everybody thinks we're old, and I found that.
Well, I mean, no offense, but you are old.
I'm old. I actually was there in 1936. So. But I found that humorous that okay, we have to change our history and not be proud of it because we're too old of a company, too well established, too grounded, and I thought that was a interesting perspective. So.
Yeah, but if you were to be the same company you were in 1936, then
it'd be a problem.
It'd be a detractor. Yeah. But you guys are definitely moving forward.
Same receptionist.
So, yeah.
No.
That's awesome. So, since you are that old guy, been around the block a few times, what advice would you have for anyone getting into this industry, whether it was on our side as a manufacturer's rep or contractor or facilities manager, building engineer? What advice would you have for them if they were starting out?
I think the number one, and it's part of our core value structure, one of the words we use is resolve. I think you have to have a little bit of resolve. You have to be in it for the long term. It is a great career. It's not glamorous, like you're going to run out and make $1 million in a minute. You have to understand the business that you're getting into is a lifelong business, and you'll meet a number of friends. So my advice to young people or new people getting in the industry is to invest. And what I mean by that is you have to jump in with both feet no matter what job you're taking. You should give the most of yourself all the time, otherwise you're cheating yourself and your customers. You're going to be away from your family in any job. Invest in that job. Make sure that the time spent away from your loved ones is well worth it. There's got to be a great buy-in. The industry is fantastic. You meet great people. I've been able to travel the world because of the industry. I've been to almost every state in the United States. I've learned technology. I've learned everything from how to run a boiler to fix a pump to do marketing, to what a P&L means. So you don't look at this industry and say, I'm going to sell pumps the rest of my life, or I'm going to sell HVAC equipment, or I'm going to sell panels the rest of my life. You're really investing in the trade and the people that you're in. And so you need to really learn whatever industry you're in to hone your craft and to build relationships, to take a minute, and that's investing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You basically, if you invest in somebody else, they're going to invest back in you. And the more you invest, the easier it gets, the more relationships you build. And with experience sitting here for 30 years, I can tell you now some of those folks are retiring that taught me. And I had the opportunity to rehire one of those folks because he just loves the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been fantastic. And now he's watching me lead him, so it's come full circle. But I always have those voices in the back of my head. So those relationships and advice you get, if you invest in them, they'll last you a lifetime.
So Hurley Engineering's been the Cougar Systems rep now in the Pacific Northwest for a few years. What was it, that made you guys decide to partner up with us?
I think first and foremost, it's the people, and it's the foundation within the company of both companies. We both have similar core values, and if you look at the structure that Scott and your dad have put together, it's about people. It's about servicing people. So with Mike and Scott, they laid a foundation. Maybe they started out going out and reaching out and selling parts and pieces, but it's about family. And when you walk into Cougar, you feel like you're part of the family. You feel like that no matter what, and that's the great thing about family is no matter what, they have to take you when you come back, right? So
unconditional love.
Yeah, unconditional love. So when you work with Cougar, you actually get that when you walk through the front door, but we are a better company working with Cougar. So Cougar has made us a better company. We've been able to look at some of your guiding principles and practices and implement them within in the company. So it goes much further than just buying panels. We look at how you treat customers, your business practices, and the way you're constantly evolving, and that aligns with our philosophy. We look at not were we successful? Yeah, that's great to look at and pat ourselves on the back, but we also look at how do we fail. And so we have a standard, and the people at Cougar have a standard that foundation has been laid by the owners, that we look at our failures and get better. It's the Michael Jordan syndrome. If you're afraid to miss, then you can't shoot, right? Yep. So we're not afraid to miss, and we're not afraid to look at that and change and make changes to get better. And Cougar does that from day one. When you walk in, you feel like that you're walking into their living room, and you can take your shoes off and sit on the couch and say, "Where's my taco?" So one of our trips recently, we came down to Cougar so that our team could feel that culture, so they could understand the culture that we're implementing at Hurley Engineering. Is that when you walk through our door, you're part of our family now. You're part of our team. So if you have a pump in the middle of the night, you're going to call me, because we're going to be there for you no matter what, unconditionally.
Yeah.
So
I think that, and I appreciate you saying that, and it's awesome that you use the word family. That's one of our, being Cougar family oriented, one of our core values, and actually one that our employees came up with. So definitely we, try to keep that going and extend that out to our partners, and we want to work with people that share our values and definitely feel that way about you guys. So definitely appreciate you guys as well. I think that's all we have for today. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Great to be here. It was a fun interview.
Yeah. And hopefully nobody was behind us
I
giving us somebody. Yeah, I think the guy on the Segway almost hit us a few minutes ago. But also want to thank you guys for watching today. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Building Value.